When it comes to education, numbers don't just speak, they shout. And they reveal information that we cannot ignore, exposing fault lines which we need to urgently repair. And these amazing tools which we use to find this are called large-scale assessments. And they're not just assessments, they are mirrors which reflect how our learners are doing and how well our education system prepares them to perform at an international level. So, what exactly are large scale assessments? In a nutshell, they are the international or national studies that evaluate student achievement either on a provincial or a international level. And to go a bit more in depth, it involves the process of collecting data to better understand strengths and weaknesses of students in a specific subject or field. Now, this allows us to identify the performance of a class, a school, or education system. And more importantly, we can identify how these education systems improve over time. Lastly, it allows us to understand our learners' outcomes in relation to their individual education context, like the South African context. So, some well known international assessments that we participate in as South Africa includes the TIMSS and PIRLS assessments. TIMSS stands for Trends in Mathematics and Science Study, which we have been participating in since its debut in 1995, and PIRLS stands for Progress in International Reading Literacy Study, which we have been doing since 2006. And this assesses reading comprehension skills of learners in grade 4 and 6. Then on a national level, we also do the ANA, or Annual National Assessments, which assess literacy and numeracy since 2011, as well as NBTs, or National Benchmark Tests, which help to assess first-year university applicants. So these are the main assessments that we often hear about in the education space in South Africa. But why do South Africa and other countries engage in these kinds of assessments? What value is it going to bring to us? I'm going to list two. So first and foremost, the most obvious reason is to measure the achievement of learners. I'm going to be discussing PIRLS as an example because this is what I'm most familiar with as a remedial teacher. So the PIRLS assessment takes place every 5 years. So it was 2006 firstly, 2011, 2016, and most recently 2021, which was quite a controversial assessment and a huge eye-opener for our country. We ranked 57 out of 57 countries. Yes, it is worth noting that there are only 3 African countries, including ourselves, but the findings are still shocking because 81% of grade 4 learners could not read for understanding in 2021. Yes, undoubtedly, COVID-19 was also a huge role player, but South Africa was still the worst performer when you compare our decline in results from 2016 to 2021. Now, the pandemic wiped out our progress. It took us back almost 10 years in our reading progress, if you look at the results outcome. And during a parliamentary meeting, the Department of Education did discuss some of the plans they had to do this. But next year is the next PIRLS assessment. Do you think that the Department of Education has done enough in the last 5 years to improve reading literacy and reading for comprehension? Another question I have is, what do you think the future scale of large-scale assessments will hold for South Africa and beyond? Well, if we look at the past, in 2021, PIRLS introduced digital reading tasks, which was a major shift because this was the first time this has happened, and it led to a shift in how reading is assessed. Likewise, in 2023, TIMSS rolled out fully computer-based test. So this shows that technology is likely going to become more integrated with assessment in the future, and it's quite an exciting space to be in. So this leads me on to my second reason for why we participate in these kinds of studies. And this one is a lot less publicized to the first reason, but basically, PIRLS doesn't just measure reading comprehension. It also explores the environments which influence learning to read. For instance, part of the results paper emphasized how supportive and involved parents or schools led to better performing readers. And this reinforces what I observe on a daily basis in my educational context as a foundation phase remedial teacher. I'm more concerned about the factors that influence the results in the PIRLS assessments, because we cannot go back and change the results, but we can look into what factors cause that. And I've observed a lot of learners who really struggle to grasp reading comprehension, and this is often exacerbated by their home environments, a lack of parental support, or major language barriers, which the PIRLS paper also highlighted. So this is very interesting and helpful in the education space, especially in remedial education. Then I also love how this types of assessment publication make the department accountable, because it creates a lot of uproar in the media and gets people talking and discussing about these topics, which creates room and opportunities for solutions to be formed. And as the saying goes, numbers don't lie. The facts and the statistics of PIRLS speak for themselves and clearly portray the issue our country faces in the reading space. Now, to conclude, the question isn't whether or not we should be participating in these kinds of assessments, but it's more to how we respond to what they are revealing. South Africa's last place ranking in the PIRLS isn't just a statistic, it is an eye-opener and a wake-up call. So I'm going to leave you with this. We may not all be able to sit in parliament, but we all sit in classrooms or homes or communities where we can instigate real change. So I hope this encourages you to look into the assessments that you or someone that you know has experience with, and to think about how we can utilize these to improve education in our country.